Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
But you don't seemingly like your own character, so she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
The star, Rachel Zegler, is unbelievably charmless in public.
She was, as woke as they are.
She just sounds bitter and angry.
I don't think they're going to buy it. I don't think they're going to watch it. I don't think they're going to like it.
Every time she speaks, she gets less likable.
This truly is the worst casting, maybe, in the history of the film industry.
Rachel Zegler, she's an asshole.
You have nothing to do with the creation of Snow White, right? You should shut up.
Spend 1 minute on Snow White and how it totally imploded at the box office this weekend.
Rachel is literally the star of a Disney movie, and she acts like she's some sort of victim, and that's the sort of mentality that is just poisoning people's minds. Like, she acts like her life is so bad.
I truly do believe that. There's something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism and the patriarchy and about abortion. But the reality is she's just not stable, like the majority of people in Hollywood. They're just not stable human beings. I would highly advise that you boycott this film, no matter how much your children love Snow White.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, I don't need your business. Thanks.
They spent $170 million to make the thing, and it had the lowest opening, under $50 million, of any of these live-action Disney remakes that they've ever had.
And, you know the saying, go woke, get broke, and Disney's going to lose money on this movie. And I believe it only made less than $1 million in China.
If Disney wants to make more woke films that tank at the box office, they are more than welcome to do that, but maybe think of an original idea.
A few lessons for Disney. Number one, stop cannibalizing all your old IP. Like, it's really bad. It's really bad business. Number two, please stop changing all of the historic plots, which actually have meaning to generations of people, to instead become generic woke story about how woman leads revolutionary uprising and she don't need no man.
Imagine a spoiled actress single-handedly sabotaging a Disney classic even before the credits roll. Disney's live-action Snow White was meant to be a blockbuster, a beloved tale with a hefty budget that guaranteed instant success. Instead, it turned into a monumental flop, with Rachel Zegler striking the match that set it ablaze. This isn't merely a case of a film flopping. It's about an arrogant, self-important star with a woke agenda turning a cherished story into a disaster. By mocking the original and stirring up drama online, she ensured this remake was doomed from the start. Here's the story of how everything unraveled.
And to constantly say things that are like just atrocious because they're looking for attention and they can never have enough of it. They can never have enough of it.
Disney believed they had captured their next star princess until the backlash hit with the force of a sledgehammer. She could definitely sing and had that fresh, new appeal. But as soon as the announcement was made, fans erupted in outrage, insisting Snow White should be as fair as snow. Sure, she had won a Golden Globe, but this was Disney. Audiences anticipated someone modest, not a glamorous celebrity. The scent of impending trouble was already in the air.
Fans accusing Disney of inserting unnecessary feminism into classic fairy tales.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird.
She didn't merely seize the role, she took a swipe at the beloved classic. By 2022, Zegler was promoting the film, which was already in disarray due to controversies and a costly set fire. You'd expect most stars to tread carefully, but not her. She went all out as a woke advocate, challenging the 1937 Snow White, the animated film that cemented Disney's legendary status.
These big bad feminists now are telling us that's ridiculous. How dare you want to meet a handsome prince and be swept off of your feet and live happily ever after? No, you should want to be the prince. You should want to go out and fight the bad guys with a sword.
It's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves in.
Snow White is running for president.
I'm launching my campaign.
They have been making this film for a very long time because it's just been so scandalized. And so they had to basically put it on ice after people were firstly outraged by Rachel Zegler speaking ill about the prior film, the film that she was remaking. And it's such a weird thing for their whole pitch as feminists to be is like the best thing you can strive to be as a man. Everything will be great once we just act exactly like men. There's nothing special about being a woman. Let's just be men. It just doesn't feel like we're winning.
So no prince or a different kind of prince?
I'm sure a lot of people will assume it's a love story just because like we cast a guy in the movie. Right. Andrew Burnap, great dude.
Yep.
All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
Who the hell are you to say all of Andrew's scenes could get cut? Like, who are you?
Oh my God.
Are you Disney? I've read your book, and I have. It's a phenomenal book. You're losing generation of loyal viewers. When you think about Snow White, what is the premise? What is the story?
It's a love story. It's a love story.
It's a dream for a girl to grow up and a man falls in love.
I'm really upset that it's the biggest theme here is that it's anti-men. She called him a stalker.
The fans were fuming. Who does this girl think she is to criticize our childhood memories? Her attitude radiated entitlement, as if she believed she was above the story she was hired to portray. She couldn't stop boasting about how the latest version discarded the romance in favor of some girl boss angle.
That's one interview clip that you read the quote from, but she's gone on to talk about this film numerous times, how she once thought Snow White was creepy, she doesn't like the prince, she thinks she should get paid more because she has to wear that dress, she should get paid for streaming, for every hour she has to wear the dress. I mean, talk about biting the hand that feeds you.
Disney enthusiasts craved magic, not a sermon. Her snarky remarks about a beloved classic that's been around for 90 years quickly sparked the trending of "Not My Snow White." The PR team must have been on edge.
Then they got even crazier and they decided that the dwarves in Snow White weren't woke enough, okay?
These are roles made for actors of my stature. I can't go out for the Harrison Ford or the George Clooney roles because that's not for me.
Right.
And now it's taken away. I don't feel that's right.
Did the dwarfs make it or no?
Well, the CGI dwarfs did. Of course, that goes back to the original controversy where Peter Dinklage, a very talented little person actor, said, why are we doing that? We've hired a Latina actress to be Snow White. That's progressive. But you're going to hire little people to play the dwarfs? That just seems like a step backwards. And then, of course, Disney instantly buckled and said, okay, we're going to add magical creatures.
A single loud remark turned the entire situation upside down for the dwarfs. The Game of Thrones actor vented on a podcast, questioning Disney's outdated portrayal of dwarfs with, why is Disney still perpetuating this backward nonsense? It's 2022, after all. By the next day, the 7 dwarfs had vanished, replaced by CGI magical creatures. Naturally, Zegler had to add her 2 cents, boasting with pride, we're leaving stereotypes behind, as if she had single-handedly orchestrated the change.
But what is this process now where it's like in order to be inclusive, you have to completely destroy storylines, completely destroy franchises? I don't believe in that. I don't think that consumers believe in that either.
However, actors of shorter stature were furious. Here she is, delivering her sermons, while we're the ones losing work. One expressed their frustration on the internet, saying Peter is well off, whereas we're not.
Peter Dinklage, you're rich. We're not. We're trying to be extras or, we're in Johnny Knoxville's Jackass if we're lucky. And so for them, they're like, you're not going to cast us to be inclusive and progressive. But these guys at Disney, they're not that bright. They're not that smart. And we see that because they can't come up with any new IP.
Images of the CGI replacements were leaked online, showing unimpressive, glowing shapes reminiscent of cheap dollar store toys. Fans dismissed them with laughter, while the actors took it as a huge insult. Zegler remained indifferent, focusing on projecting herself as a progressive champion. Her arrogant, I know everything stance only worsened the situation. The production was already a total catastrophe, with constant delays, reshoots, and a financial drain, and now this added to the chaos. The fantasy was falling apart.
But you are not entitled to call for Trump supporters to be harmed. Like, you are actually not entitled to do that. And so let me just remind you, Rachel Zegler, of what the map looks like, just so you can understand when your Disney movie is coming out, how many people you are wishing harm upon. Like, this is America right now.
Disney found itself in a tricky situation as it faced mounting production issues with delays, reshoots, and financial woes. The fairy tale was unraveling. In the midst of all this chaos, her outspoken behavior turned into Disney's biggest headache. By 2024, Snow White was gradually moving towards its scheduled March 2025 debut. Zegler could have chosen to stay silent, but instead, she embraced her inner diva. Post-US election, she lashed out at Trump supporters on Instagram, declaring, "May you never know peace." She added, "Burnt coffee, wet socks, screw you all." Her display of pure entitlement felt like throwing gasoline on an already blazing fire.
I will love you through these 4 years as best I can. F Donald Trump. Yeah, totally stable thing for her to be posting, wishing harm upon Trump voters, wishing that we have no peace.
Megyn Kelly jumped on it, tearing into her on air.
And they postponed the release of this thing, Ben, for a year because their star, Rachel Zegler, was so unlikable, told all Trump supporters that they could off, excuse me, but she did. That was just in November. They didn't even know she was going to do that one. Said she hated Snow White, mocked the fact that there was a prince, and that she falls in love as opposed to leaning into her own power.
Kelly was furious, saying this disrespectful kid had to leave. Disney, fire her immediately. The clip blew up online, amassing millions of views as people watched Kelly tear Zegler down. On X, a boycott quickly gained traction, with fans vowing to boycott the movie due to her woke breakdown. She attempted a fake apology with crocodile tears, claiming, "I got emotional, oops," but nobody believed her act.
Cry me a river. She's just exactly everything that we can't stand.
A comment nailed it. Her bratty demeanor was already sinking the film before it even took off. Disney kept quiet, but rumors swirled they wished her out of the picture. Unfortunately, filming had wrapped. She was a train wreck, and things were only going to get worse.
Because you just can't close your mouth. You just can't be sane, even when you do open your mouth. I think this girl does not deserve a feature-length film, but rather she deserves to be in a padded cell.
You want to trash that legacy? That company that now Disney has screwed up the last 5 years trying to please a small percentage of minorities in America? Yeah, we're sick of it. So the more you do this, Disney, Iger, Rachel Zegler, whatever her name is, yes, this is exactly the backlash you're going to get from parents who have kids who are your customers. You're supposed to win parents over. You're talking to kids. The parents pay for the tickets. You have to be a dummy as a marketer to be saying, if I'm Bob Iger, you know what we're doing? Emergency meeting. We're putting Snow White on hold for 2 years. And guess what? Pay her a couple $1,000,000. Go away. We're going to bring another person to play this role because you just screwed this thing up.
Disney took a massive gamble and faced a huge loss. On March 21st, 2025, the release of Snow White was a complete failure. The trailers were dull and the CGI looked awful. Zegler's smile felt forced, lacking any charisma. With a $43 million opening in the US against a budget exceeding $200 million, it was a disaster. Disney had hoped to at least hit the $150 million mark, banking on family audiences and nostalgia, but no luck there. The theaters were deserted, not a single child in costume, just rows of vacant seats. Critics panned it, calling it a woke bore. One critic remarked, "Zegler's Snow White is a flop." Another added that the CGI dwarfs resembled characters discarded from a lousy app. Even Godot couldn't rescue it. Those fans who did see it loathed it for being too preachy and lacking charm, turning a beloved fairy tale into a shell of its former self. Merchandise went unsold, with dwarf toys collecting dust in the clearance aisle. Zegler's rude behavior and overly progressive messages alienated audiences.
All these studios have to stop letting their actors loose. I mean, honestly, just shut your actors up.
Disney expected Controversy to be profitable, but it ended up losing them millions. What will follow this disaster of a flop?
Because guess what? Nobody grew up with that crap, and nobody's all that interested in it. It's very good for people to learn that women need men, and also that men need women. I don't know why this fell out of fashion, and we're not allowed to just say that sort of stuff anymore, but it actually happens to be the truth.
Hollywood's in a frenzy, and Disney's kicking themselves. The aftermath is harsh, with whispers that Disney execs are panicking. Job cuts could be on the horizon, and plans for remakes are scrapped. This has crushed their spirit, a source confided. They're reevaluating everything, facing potential losses of $150 million when marketing is included. Zegler's reputation is tarnished. A casting expert acknowledged her talent, but described her as a difficult diva. Her outspoken, self-important demeanor has turned her into a risk no one wants to take. Disney's moving the project to streaming, but the bad vibes persist. Online, she's become a laughingstock, known as the fairy tale ruiner, Rachel Zegler.
Disney's Snow White was essentially a box office dud. The regime that decided that wokeness needed to be infused in every movie. If they keep going along this path, they're going to go bankrupt.
This fairy tale turned into a complete catastrophe, and it's far from over. Disney bets on an overconfident newcomer who despises the classic version. She mouths off with arrogance, disrespect, and a sense of entitlement, tearing down a beloved story and provoking fans. The dwarfs are replaced with lackluster CGI, and she might even be clashing with GDAU. The film nosedives, grossing just $87 million against a budget exceeding $200 million. Zegler's career is on shaky ground. Disney loses millions and looks foolish, while fans are fed up. Some take issue with her race, others with her attitude, but everyone is upset about this chaos. GDO is unfazed. Zegler has become the punchline of a joke. Can she make a comeback? Will Disney abandon the idea of remakes? This is far from a happily ever after. It's a harsh reality check.